You just finished eating. Your stomach is full, but your mind is already somewhere else. Foggy, heavy. You need coffee or sugar. Or both. You sit down to work, but the screen blurs. You had energy this morning. Now, it's gone. And the strangest part? You did nothing. You just ate. Here is what nobody told you. There is an ancient Japanese rule, practiced for over 3,000 years in the islands of Okinawa, that explains exactly why you feel this way. And more importantly, it reveals a single dietary secret that can unlock what I call infinite energy. A way of eating that eliminates the crash, erases the brain fog, and gives you access to a mental clarity you haven't felt since you were a child. But I will not tell you what it is. Not yet. Because first, you need to understand why everything you think you know about food is a lie, and how that lie is slowly draining your life force, meal by meal. Let me paint a picture. You wake up. You're not hungry. But you eat anyway, because breakfast is important. Because they told you so, lunch haribes. You're busy. You grab something fast. Something wrapped in plastic. Something designed in a laboratory to make you want more. By 2 in the afternoon, your eyelids are heavy. Your thoughts move like they're underwater. You reach for another coffee, another snack, another hit of sugar, and the cycle continues. Dinner comes, you eat until you're stuffed. Because the food is there, because stopping feels like losing. Because the plate isn't empty yet. You collapse on the couch, not satisfied. Just full, and somehow, an hour later, you're hungry again. This is not normal. But you've been living this way for so long, you forgot what normal feels like. But here's what's truly disturbing. This isn't your fault, and yet, you're paying the price. Let me tell you who the real enemy is. It's not you. It's not your willpower. It's not your discipline. The enemy is invisible. Itas nofis, but it has a name. Modern food engineering. You see, the foods you eat every day are designed by scientists whose only job is to make you eat more. They call it Teblis point. The exact combination of salt, sugar, and fat that overrides your body's natural ability to say enough. Your ancestors ate when hungry, stopped when full. Their bodies knew. Yours does too. But that signal has been hijacked, silenced, buried under layers of artificial flavors and chemical sweetness. You are not weak, you are under attack. And the weapon is on your plate. But this is not the worst part. The damage goes far deeper than weight. Far deeper than fatigue, and I'll explain exactly what I mean in a moment. Here's what happens inside you every time you overeat. Your body enters a state of emergency. Blood rushes to your stomach. Insulin spikes. Your brain downshifts. Digestion takes priority. Everything else stops. Creativity? Gone. Focus? Gone. Motivation? Buried under the weight of your last meal. And this isn't occasional. This is daily, 3 times a day. Sometimes more. You're not tired because you work too hard. You're tired because you eat too much. And it's stealing everything from you. Your clarity, your ambition, your edge. You walk through life in a fog you've mistaken for normalcy. But here's the truth, nobody says out loud. That fog is a choice. And so is the clarity. But wait. Before I reveal how to get it back, I need to remind you of something. Remember what I promised at the start of this video? A single ancient Japanese rule that unlocks infinite energy. We're getting there. But there is one more thing you need to understand first. Because the real shift is not about what you eat, it's about when you stop. Let me take you somewhere. An island in the East China Sea. Okinawa, Japan. This place has the highest concentration of centenarians on Earth. People who live past 100. Not in hospitals, not in beds. Walking, gardening, laughing, with sharp minds and light bodies. Scientists studied them for decades. They looked at their genetics, their climate, their social structures. But one thing kept appearing again and again. A phrase. 2 words. Spoken before every meal like a prayer at a hachibu. It means, eat until you are 80% full. Not stuffed, not satisfied. 80%. Just enough to nourish. Never enough to burden. This isn't a diet, it's a discipline. A philosophy of restraint wrapped in 3 syllables. And the masters who practiced it didn't just live longer. They lived sharper. They moved through their days without the fog, without the crash, without the chains of heaviness that you carry without even knowing. But knowing this isn't enough. Because the question is, how do you feel 80%? How do you know when to stop before your body tells you? And that, finally, is where I reveal the ancient technique. The one I promised you. The one that unlocks everything. Here it is. The Okinawan masters did something that modern culture has completely erased. They ate slowly. Not just slow like chew your food. Slow like a ritual. Slow like every bite was sacred. Slow like they had nowhere else to be. Because here is the biological truth. Your stomach takes 20 minutes to send a fullness signal to your brain. 20 minutes, but the average modern meal lasts 7. You finish before your body even knows you started. And then you eat more and more. And by the time the signal arrives, you're already overfull. Already tired. Already foggy. The masters knew. Not through science. Through stillness. They paused between bites. They put down their chopsticks. They breathed. They listened not to their cravings. To their body. This is intuitive eating. Not a trend. An ancient practice that reconnects you to the signals you were born with. The signals that modern life has buried. When you slow down, you hear yourself again. And when you hear yourself, you stop exactly when you should. Not a bite too soon. Not a bite too late. And that is where the energy lives. In the space between hunger and excess. But there's something else. Something deeper. Something I wasn't going to mention. But you've stayed this long. So I'll give you the hidden layer. The reason this works isn't just physical. It's spiritual. In Eastern philosophy, your body is a temple, not a metaphor. A literal vessel for your energy, your chi, your ki, your life force. When you overeat, you weigh down the vessel. You clog the channels, the energy stagnates. You become slow, dull, disconnected. But when you eat with discipline, something shifts. The body becomes light. The mind becomes sharp. The spirit becomes clear. You move through the world without drag. You think without fog. You act without hesitation. This is the state the samurai called Mushin no mind. A state of effortless flow where action arises without thought, and it cannot exist in a body stuffed with excess. You cannot be sharp when you're heavy. You cannot be fast when you're full. The masters knew. Discipline is not punishment. It is liberation. Now, let me bring it all together, because I promised you a rule, and I promised you infinite energy. Here is the rule, complete. Arachibuit, until you are 80% full. Never beyond. Here is the practice. Slow down every meal to at least 20 minutes. Put down your utensils between bites. Breathe. Listen. Your body will tell you when it's time. And here is the truth behind the energy. When you stop eating before you're full, your body stops spending all its resources on digestion. That energy goes somewhere else. To your brain, to your muscles, to your will. You feel light, alert, alive. Not once, every single day. That is infinite energy. Not some mystical force. Just the natural state of a body that is no longer drowning in its own excess. But I told you I'd give you something more. A bonus. Here it is. The second rule the Okinawans practiced, one you've never heard. They didn't just eat until 80%. They stopped eating when the sun went down. No late night snacks. No midnight cravings. Nothing after dark. Not because of willpower, because they understood something. The body heals at night, the mind repairs. But only if digestion isn't running. When you eat late, you steal from your sleep. You wake up tired because your body spent the night working instead of resting. Stop eating 3 hours before bed, and you'll wake up different. Lighter, clearer, sharper. 2 rules, that's all. 80% full. Nothing after dark. If you do this for 1 week, you'll understand what I mean. If you do it for 1 month, you won't recognize yourself. And now I leave you with this. You've spent years treating food as pleasure, as entertainment, as escape. But food is none of those things. Food is fuel, and fuel is sacred. The question isn't whether you should change how you eat. The question is simpler. What kind of temple do you want to live in? One filled with fog, or one filled with light? You already know the answer. Now you just have to choose it, 1 meal at a time. Thanks for watching.